This is a 1983 gold line. Before I get talking about that, I'm going to experiment a little bit with the light in here because I don't like how it looks kind of green in the camera. I don't know why it does. Let me try something else first. Let me try... Still kind of has like a green hue. I don't know what that's about. No, it seems to have gone away. We'll start here for now. I may try turning the other lights on at some point. It's an 83 gold line. There was a grocery store about 2 miles from my parents' house that my mom went to occasionally. There were a few different grocery stores that she went to. I don't know what the reason was why she'd go to one instead of the other. But this was a Kohl's grocery owned by Senator Herb Kohl. I believe who also owns the Kohl's department stores, if I'm not mistaken. And they had this really cool old building with an arched ceiling and 10 fans in it in a really random pattern. Like the front row had 3, then the next row had 2, and the next row had 1, then 3 again, and 2. I'm making it sound less random than it was. Like it would be, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, whatever, but added up to 10 fans. And whole time I'd been in there since the the late 80s, I'd only seen 2 of the fans ever on, and that was only once. And coincidentally, 2 of the fans were this type of gold line, the second generation with a stepped motor, and the other 8 were the older version, such as downstairs in the shop. And but they all had the same canopies. So I don't know if the 2 that are like this replaced 2 older ones and they left the canopies, or if that was a transition from the factory. I'm not sure. Stranger things have happened either way. The reason that I doubt that they were replaced is because apparently shortly after the fans were put in, there was a leak in the roof, and water dripped into the roof, ran down into the ceiling, and among other places ran into the boxes for the fans and down the down rods to the fans into the motors. So at one time all of the motors were filled with water, the result being all but the 2 fans that I saw on at one time were rusted, closed, unable to spin. But the fans had power applied. I think they were on a thermostat or a timer of some kind or something to that effect, and they were powered on a regular basis since the mid-80s, locked up. And so when I pulled them out, if memory serves, 5 of the 10 fans, the windings were toast, and 5 were salvageable. It was at least 5 that were salvageable. But it was kind of a fun process because first of all, I didn't know that they were bad. See, it's looking green again. That doesn't look green to you? I don't know why that's changing. Well, while I'm telling my story, I'll experiment with the lighting. So, I was in 10th grade at the time when I heard that store was being torn down to build a new store. And, so I called them and asked for the fans. At the time, I was playing for a few different churches that wanted fans, so I figured that was the perfect opportunity. And, it's going to take these lights some time to come on. They're slower than mercury vapor. I figured that was the perfect opportunity, but the ceiling at the highest point was like 25 feet, so rented a lift, cost $150, and me and my dad and my Uncle Nelson and my cousins Fred and Ricky and my girlfriend at the time went in there and pulled all the fans down, and then I sat in my parents' basement for quite some time following that, trying to unlock all the motors. So, I've said before, and I'll say it again, this version of the gold line here is the very best version they made. The stepped motor and the 3 rivets. Moves more air, more efficiently, and they last longer. I've never seen one of these failed. You can identify them from the top too. The blades have what I call a Christmas tree shape. The number 3 is me. When I took them down from the grocery store, I labeled each motor, blade, down rod, and canopy all with a number. So this is fan number 3. It was near the front of the store. And but yeah, that Christmas tree shape is what they look like on the top. I don't have a set handy. I probably do, I just don't know where. Oh yeah, I know where. I'll show you the top of the blades from the older gold lines, the ones with the ribbed motor, because it'd be the same as these silver line blades here. They do not have the Christmas tree shape. Oh, tripping over stuff. They just have a, call it a triangle or a diamond. But that's the, other than that, I believe the blades are about the same. I'm not sure if the pitch is different. These point up a little bit more. The older ones sometimes point down. It still looks green in here. So, anyhow, this is the, in my opinion, the best gold line they made. Very similar to the current ones. The motor is a little bit larger, blades are a little bit larger. So, I've got it hooked up with the 4-speed control and the amp meter. I actually haven't ran this fan since I was in 10th grade, which would have been well over 10 years ago. I'm not even sure how many, 12 years, 13 years ago. Yeah, it's been in a box ever since then. So let's hope that it still works well. Start it on low. Let's see, we are drawing 0.23 amps over here. And did it stall out? Still drawing current. So I guess it's stalled out. Well, that's too bad. Let's try bumping it up to... I'm going to turn it back down to the first speed and just see, because like I said, it hasn't been ran in a while, so maybe the bearings are a little stiff. Drawing 0.3 again. Stop it with my hand and just see how it does. Under normal circumstances, these would start even if they're at a slow speed like that, but this one having been filled with water, I'm sure it's not. Okay. So we'll give it a little help, and we'll see if it'll stay on the lowest speed. Or it could just be, I've honestly never tested one of these with a 4-speed control. It could just be that the 4-speed control is not ideal for it. In which case I'll run to my car and get the slider control, which has higher values. It's probably what it is whenever a motor can sit stalled at one point for that length of time, you can develop a dead spot in the rotor. And so what probably happens is it probably does not have enough torque to start at that dead spot. But it looks like if I help it out, it'll run okay. So let's see how it does in the other speeds. Let's see if it performs as it should. Like I said, you can compare it, at least on high, to the exact same fans that are in the salon. Those two did not come out of the grocery store. Those two came from another collector. I think after I run it on high for a bit, I'll start it on low again and see if it... forgot to look at the amp meter, 0.47. Already getting a good breeze from it as low as it's going, which is what I was not getting from the silver line I just previously tested at this same speed. Zoom medium high. We're at 0.66. Like I said, it's really impressive that any of these survived, having been filled with water. I'm sure the water wasn't there for 20 years. would have been less than 20 years. How long would it have been? Like, say, 85, 95, 15 years, let's just say. Would have been a little bit less than that, I guess. But, no, maybe about... Anyhow, yeah, about 15 years. Yeah, they weren't filled with water for 15 years. Eventually it dried out, but they were filled with water for however long it took the water to evaporate. And then, like I said, sat powered up for that many years afterwards. So it's pretty impressive that they, like I said, I saved both of the ones of this type and a handful of the ones of the other type. I still have all the bad motors of the other type as well. Unfortunately, I don't have all the blades for it. I was dumb and decided to sacrifice the blades for another project. I really wish I hadn't done that now, because now I need blades. So, I think it's a little bit slower than what it is supposed to be. It is hard to tell. Get a good breeze from it here, of course. One of the things, well, that's interesting. The further, if I'm right here, which I don't know what that is. Let's just say that's 10 feet from the fan. And I kneel down. I get a little bit of a breeze. I went back a little bit further, past the 14-foot mark, so let's say 15 feet, and I get a lot of a breeze. The thing I like about these older blades with the 3 rivets instead of the 4. And it could be because of the way they're shaped, I'm not sure. You get a stronger breeze directly under the fan than you normally do from a curved bladed industrial. You get both a strong breeze under the fan as well as a strong breeze, away from it. I didn't think to look at the high amperage draw. Let's do that. 0.81. So it's actually a bit above the 0.7 that it's supposed to be. Now, one reason that could be is because these were actually rated for 110 volts, and we're running it on 120. Or it just could be some leakage in the windings from the varnish having been compromised with the water and everything. I could open it up and varnish the windings, but that's only going to get the outsides of them. It's not going to get all the way in. It seems to run pretty good because of what happened to it, and because it hasn't been ran in so long. I'm going to run it a little bit longer than I would otherwise here on high to see if it does anything. We get rid of the green. Yeah, it looks a little more normal here now. I don't like the washed outedness from having that light on. Let's just try, I'm just going to try real quick turning that light off and see which is better. Nope, that's when it starts to look kind of weird and green. I'll look at it from the computer when the video is done and see, oh, maybe it's not bad. It's really hard to tell. And then on... You guys tell me which is better, because I can't tell looking at the tiny little phone screen. I'm obsessing over it. It might as well be a drain plug. Okay. Let's cut power. Those bearings are pretty quiet, given that they were completely locked up, and I think I freed them with WD-40. Normally you'd expect a little kind of a bearing whir under those circumstances. Never cracked the motor. Just filled the motor with WD-40 the same way that it was filled with water, and let that sit in there for a while, because WD-40 is a water displacer. I figured it would get rid of anything that, and then drained it. And freed up all the motors that way. Went through a lot of cans of WD-40, but I do that to this day, so. I'll tell you, even though these are my favorite version, testing this gives me new respect to the ones with 4 rivets, because while this one does have a stronger breeze directly underneath it, there was very little difference when I got out to the 14-foot mark. In fact, if anything, it was less, which stands to reason. You can't. So I'm going to try starting it on low again, just to see if having ran has freed it up any. That seems to be okay, but I did start it with the control, so as you know, the control has to bump past high. I'm going to try one other thing. Okay, if I try to start it without bumping it to high first with the control, it doesn't start. So, like I said, I've never tried one of these on a 4-speed control before. That could be just the nature of these, that that's too slow for them to start. Or it could be this one specifically because of the hardships it's endured in the past. Either way, it runs fine on all the other speeds, including high, and runs on low if you start it on a faster speed. So I think that's pretty good under the circumstances. Thanks for watching. I think I might have a few more videos tonight. We'll see.